The other day I talked about a video where two guys were about to fight and one had a gun, but instead of using it, he handed it to his friend and went old school, fist only. I praised him for not escalating to lethal force, even though I also said I'd prefer no fighting at all. But we don't live in a perfect world. Today, we're talking about the exact opposite. A video where one guy's itching for a fight and the other guy, he wants absolutely no parts of it. He's backing up, telling the guy to leave him alone essentially, while holding a gun. And instead of taking the very obvious hint, the would-be Mike Tyson keeps pressing forward until he gets shot.
I said get down. Shoot me! Down! Shoot me! Get down! Shoot me, mother! Get down! Shoot me, bitch! Get down! Down on the ground! Get down!
Now, before the internet starts with the, but he didn't even have a gun, slow down. Here's a backstory. You see, Benjamin Backus, 40 years old, he's a financial advisor, helps his ex-felon neighbor, Michael, get back on his feet. Fast forward, and now Michael spirals, is doing drugs and booze and paranoia, starts thinking that this guy's breaking into his house, even though he moved. So the guy with the gun has to get a restraining order, and then this guy ignores it and starts vandalizing his home. And then on the morning of March 24th, this guy's warming up his car to take his son to SATs when his friend, I guess you can call him that, shows up, throws a rock, jumps out of the car, and approaches him. So this guy backs up with the gun in his hand, telling him to stop, but he doesn't. Instead, he taunts him, "Put the gun down and fight me like a man." At that point, knowing that this guy has owned guns before, he sees him reach down, he thinks he's going for a weapon of sorts, so he shoots him once in the chest, and they clear him. Look, I don't care how tough you think you are. Trying to fight someone who already has a gun pointed at you is the dumbest thing you can do. This isn't a Marvel movie. You're not gonna disarm the guy with a slick kung fu wrist twist while your theme song plays in the background. And Instagram is basically the faces of death at this point. So I've seen way too many people try to prove they're tough against a gun that's already drawn on them. Spoiler alert, they usually end up bleeding out on the sidewalk. Now, here's the thing that people don't get. Just because you don't have a gun doesn't mean you're not the aggressor or a lethal threat. There's something called disparity of force. If you're a 25-year-old MMA fighter trying to smash a 72-year-old retiree into the pavement, that old guy is legally justified in shooting you because for him, fighting you could literally be a death sentence. The law doesn't require him to man up and fight you on your terms. The same principle applies here. This guy is trying to disengage. He's giving verbal commands, he's backing up. The other guy, ignoring it all, closing the distance and making threats. Now, here's where it gets dicey. Self-defense law isn't always crystal clear. You've got microseconds where everything flips from justified to murder charge. It depends on the state you're in, the DA you get, the jury pool, the perception, because in 2025, perception is reality. Now, if both guys are evenly matched, same size, same age, same skill level, some people will say, why didn't you just fight him? And if the video looks like you jumped the gun, you could be in trouble even if you're legally justified. That's why I always say, act like there's always a camera on you. If you're ever in these type of situations, just assume every action you engage in is being watched. Your body language matters, your words matter, where you point your gun matters. Look at this guy in this video. He got the gun pointed down, posture defensive, clearly showing he doesn't want to shoot, but is willing to if he has to. That restraint goes a long way with investigators, juries, and court of public opinion. Now keep in mind, if you live in a stand your ground state, you don't have to keep retreating. You can stand your ground on the law. In reality, some people look at things differently. So just keep that in mind if you find yourself in these type of situations. And I know that's easy to say while I'm sitting in this chair with a cutoff on and an AK on my hat and air conditioning. Nobody's pointing a gun at me. Nobody's trying to kill me. So saying, oh, just keep that in mind if you find yourself in a self-defense situation. Yes, it's fucking hard. It's difficult. But you're better off thinking about it beforehand, at least having it in the back of your mind now than thinking about it for the very first time in the moment. So if you're ever in a self-defense situation, your goal, other than staying alive, is to look like you did everything possible to avoid pulling the trigger, even if you don't have to do that. Because if it ever goes to court, that perception could save you from losing everything. Now, I am not telling you to do that to your detriment. If you have the ability to stand your ground and you genuinely think somebody's trying to kill you, do what you have to do. But just understand the reality of the circumstance may play out very different after the fact versus what you think it would do in your head. Self-defense law isn't just about what happened. It's unfortunately about how it looks like it happened. Race plays a part, sex plays a part, the relative size, the skill level of the people involved plays a part. It sucks, but it's reality. Think about it. Your job is to make sure that when the dust settles, you're not just alive, but that you try to do everything in your power to be standing on the right side of the law and the right side of public perception to the best of your ability within reason. Because the fight doesn't end when the threat goes down. Sometimes that's just the beginning. And this is exactly why I'm glad the USCCA is sponsoring this video, because what happened here is the perfect example of why their coverage matters. This guy walked away legally clear, but what if the DA had seen it differently? What if one juror thought he should have fought him? That one shift in perception can turn your life upside down. 6 figures in legal fees, months of years in court, and constant stress of wondering if you're going to prison. Here's why I personally choose USCCA. Not just because they've got your back in court, but because they're comprehensive. Yes, they give you immediate access to an attorney and cover your legal defense costs from day one if you're involved in a self-defense incident. But that's just one part of it. They also provide in-depth training, resources that teach you how to avoid and de-escalate situations before they ever go lethal, and ongoing education that makes you more capable and responsible concealed carriers. That combination, legal protection plus real-world knowledge, is why they're my choice. Because carrying a gun is only part of the equation. Knowing the law, knowing how to handle yourself, and being able to prove you acted responsibly can be just as important as the gun itself. Now, I get it. Maybe you click the link and decide USCCA isn't for you. Fine. Please, though, get something. Some kind of self-defense coverage that protects you both legally and financially. Because going into a fight for your life without it is like carrying a gun with no ammo. It looks good until the moment you actually need it. So hit the link in the description section and check out USCCA. And at the very least, make sure you're covered. Surviving the fight is one thing. Surviving the system is a whole nother story. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now, you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together, we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.